Hey, welcome back. And here you go. Our last session with our Mind Over Money webinar series. I hope that you enjoyed this process and this journey. I hope that we gave you valuable information that you choose to use and utilize in your life and future endeavors. And I'm really excited about how we're going to end this because this session is going to be focused on what we call life hacks. All right. So, once again, we're going to hack our programming and our routines and our habits and our lifestyle to be able to, once again, equip you and empower you in ways to develop the lifestyle and routines that you really want to cultivate and foster that support your vision and your purpose for your life. Once again, going back to the first session, that paradigm programming is critical. So it all kind of works in together to try to really figure out what are the values and the beliefs and the mindset that you need to be able to achieve. All right, here we go. So the first note you want to take down is what is called habit loops, right? Habit loops. Okay, we'll zoom that in for you. Bam, zoom it in. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that is a cycle, right? So it's a three-step cycle that we're going to be talking about, right? So you can kind of make a drawing about a three-step cycle. I think it's real important that you make that cycle drawing so you can kind of understand the process and how these three concepts relate to one another, right? Once again, habit loops. We're going to call it a habit loops, right? You're probably like, what is a habit loop? I'm going to break that down for you. And I'm also going to break down the three aspects of a habit loop, right? So you can kind of understand what those aspects actually are, okay? Okay. The first aspect of a habit loop is the cue. The cue, another word for a cue would be the trigger, okay? Trigger, cue, you can use it, they're kind of interchangeable. But the ideal is that we all have habits, and those habits, whether good or bad, are triggered by something, right? You wake up, right? That's a trigger, that's a cue. You may go to the restroom, you may brush your teeth. Everybody has morning rituals or things that they do based on soon as they wake up. You may, soon as you wake up, check your phone, right? What is the cue? What is the trigger? It's waking up, right? You may drive a car and you get into traffic. That's a trigger. That's a cue. You wait. Once you get into traffic, you may turn on your radio. You may listen to a particular podcast because now you know you're going to be there for a while, right? That's a habit or cue, right? Habits and cues, whether positive or negative, right, are part of our life. What happens is it's once again it goes into that subconscious mind, and you want things to that are important to you to become habitual, where you don't even have to think about them. They're just programmed in there, right? On a negative side, a lot of times we can have negative cues and negative habits. We can get into argument with our loved one, right? And that can make you want to go smoke a cigarette or have a drink or do something else that may be not as productive for your well-being, but it's still a habit, and you have certain cues that you feel like, oh, you may overeat a little bit, and you feel like, oh, as soon as you get some unsettling or bad news, that's kind of how you cope with the circumstance or the situation. So whether they're good or bad for you, that's up for you to decide. But all of us have habits, and they're all started by a cue/trigger. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Next for you. Okay. The next aspect of that habit loop. So once you got that trigger or that cue, that trigger that sparks it all, what happens next is the routine, right? You fall into the actual habit, whatever that may be, right? So once again, using that idea, you wake up, your alarm clock goes off. First thing you do is you check your email, you check your social media, right? The trigger would be the alarm clock. The routine would be checking your social media, checking your email, right? The trigger cue would be getting in an argument with a loved one, right? The routine would be going to exercise, or the routine could be calling your best friend to talk about it. The routine could be taking that cigarette break, right? The routine could be having that drink, whatever that may be. right, in your life, that is the cue. I want you to understand the relationship between the cue and the routine. Something happens, right? A trigger occurs, and then you automatically fall into some type of pattern of behavior that just becomes, like second nature to you, right? Okay. All right. Now, now that we kind of understand the ideal of the foundation of the habit loop, right? Now, what you want to understand before we get to the final stage of the habit loop, what we're coming to, but I kind of wanted to really hop in here with you to really break down the cue and the routine. Now, understand this. When it comes to the routine, this is a big, really write this down, like, because this is an area, a stumbling block for so many people. It's all about quantity over quality when you are establishing new routines or new habits in your life. What do I mean by that? I mean, let's say one great one I always use because a lot of people struggle with this is working out. Okay. A lot of times, what we focus on is the quality of the workout and not the quantity of how many times you actually worked out. Meaning, you may like, oh, yeah, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out for an hour. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. You may do that for 1 or 2 days. Right. And then the third day, it's tough, hard to do. And then because you don't have the energy or you don't have the effort to get into that particular routine, that intensive a workout, now you end up not going. And one day turns into 2 days, 2 days turn into 3 days. We all know what I'm talking about here, right? You know where this is headed. Now, all of a sudden, you're back to square one. The goal when you're developing these new routines is quantity, right? You want to under promise and over deliver to yourself. So you may say something like, hey, if I just put on my clothes and show up and get to the gym, and if I'm in there for at least 5 minutes, that was a win for me. Now, that doesn't mean if you get to the gym and you feel excited, you feel motivated, and you're in there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, great. But the ideal is that you set the expectation that you at least show up and you're going to be there for at least 5 minutes. And what that does is it's powerful because it established a new routine, a habit. It's far easier psychologically to get to the gym and know you can be there for just 5 minutes compared to an hour. So what happens is the more consistency you are in building just the habit of showing up to the gym, long term, you're going to lose more weight, you're going to burn more calories, and you're going to have more success in that goal. Instead of putting so much pressure on the quality of the workout, you focused on the quantity. Same thing with studying. Right, another habit. You can sit there and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to study for 5 minutes. I'm going to read that book for 3 minutes every day, 2 pages every day. Don't go for the 20. Don't go for the 30, the 40. If you read more than the 2 pages, that's fine. But at least do something that bare minimum that you know. That's where the ideal goal comes from, the low bar and the high bar, right? Your minimum, I know I can read at least a page every day. High bar, man, if I can get to 10, that's great. If you fall anywhere between that low and high bar, excellent. But at least set that minimum low bar. Still shoot for a high bar. Yeah, that's great. But no, minimally, you're going to do this low bar requirement that establishes that great habit or routine because it's all about the consistency of the behavior for the long term effect that you really want to get from this new routine or habit that you're developing in your life. All right. Now, that's why I wanted to kind of segue into this. The third aspect of your habit loop is the reward. You have to reward yourself. It doesn't have to be nothing big. It doesn't have to be nothing huge. That's why I even use the example of the picture here of the star chart. You will be surprised how a star chart, some type of app on your phone, there's a lot of great apps on your phone. I know for me personally, I have a to-do list on my phone and I feel very accomplished when I check something off on my to-do list. Just to see it crossed off on the app just gives me a sense of motivation and encouragement to keep going. It's like playing a game, right? So it's something as small as a to-do list app on your phone that you can kind of see your progress, you can see your progression, all the way to saying, hey, man, if I can get through this for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to buy me that shirt. I'm going to go out to eat. I'm going to do these different activities, do these little things. You already planned on buying that new dress or that new outfit or those new pair of shoes, right? Now what you're going to do is say, hey, let me accomplish these tasks first before I reward myself. Because what's going to happen is you're going to enjoy the reward and you're going to appreciate your progression, which is going to inspire and motivate you to continue with the good works that you're accomplishing. All right. All right. Next, we're going to talk about what we call here at Choice Business Group Stargate disciplines. What are these? These are three life-changing disciplines that if you make these part of your routine, one, two, maybe all three, if you created these in these life, they have so many other unintended consequences. They just open up so many other possibilities and lifestyles and pursuits that you can't even imagine right now. It's even right, but they have been known since the beginning of mankind. They're rooted in all ancient cultures and traditions, right? And these are three habits that if you begin to cultivate in your life, you will see transformative change in your future, guaranteed. Okay. So we're going to go over the top three. These are the major three. All right. Here we go. First one, learning, especially now, I would tell you with this new information economy, the number one skill that you need to have is your ability to learn, unlearn something, and relearn. Okay, something. All right. So learning is a great habit routine for you to develop in your life. You should always be a continuous learner, and you should not rely on an institution, a school, or traditional setting to excite you about learning. You should be an independent learner. Some of my best and most exciting learning came from an unstructured environment where I could just begin to go down rabbit holes after rabbit holes of information that excite me and spark my curiosity. And I begin to make connections that are relevant to me and my personal walk, journey, and purpose. So I really would tell you that, and then like I said, there's so many other. I mean, the more you learn, the more knowledge you have, then you begin to meet different people because you can connect, you can create other meaningful connections with other people from different walks of life that you never knew that you would be able to have, and expand your network, your social capital. The list goes on and on about the value of learning, right? So uh, knowledge is powerful, and your pursuit of that knowledge will transform your life and develop other positive habits in your life. All right. The other next Stargate discipline is prayer slash meditation. Once again, prayer and meditation has been a part of mostly all ancient traditions of some form, have some type of prayer meditation, right? You find which tradition works for you and apply that to your life, modify it the way that you need to be able to modify it. But the value of prayer meditation is going to a place that you can begin to process your thoughts. Especially nowadays, we've got so much information coming at us and from all different directions. We all need to take a time to kind of slow down, go somewhere, and begin to think about what you're thinking about. So that's the value of prayer and meditation. It gives you a chance to really process thoroughly your thoughts from the past, the present, and the future. Okay. And last but not least, the last Stargate discipline is fitness, right? Fitness has been known. Let me tell you, man, like again, it's been known since the beginning of mankind. I mean, it's sad to say our lifestyle as human beings have transformed so much that fitness used to be a part of everybody's life because that was just part of survival. But now, because we live such different lifestyles, right? We need to find ways to incorporate this back into our lives. It helps with your stress levels tremendously, right? Just working out alone can transform your stress levels, anxiety, right? Your self-esteem, your confidence. It allows yourself the consistency to put yourself in stressful situations and push through, and that builds your self-esteem and your confidence and your resolve for other aspects of life. So I would strongly encourage you to include fitness as part of one of those new routines that you want to develop in your life. Okay. And last but not least, I got to give you my pitch to Choice Business Group because here at Choice Business Group, we're all about life hacks, finding creative and innovative ways to increase our productivity and professionalism, right? And our overall personal well being. And we really believe that when it comes to the Stargate disciplines of learning, prayer, and meditation, and fitness, these three are pillars to transform your life. And we're cultivating a community here of people that are going down similar paths that are trying to pursue similar goals. Okay, so I hope that was a help for you today. My name is Melvin Valentine. Thank you